is Monsteropolis, a show about anomalies, legends, monsters. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Seth Breedlove. I'm joined, as always, by my pal, Mark Metzger.
Hello there.
And our other pal, Heather Musser.
Hello.
All right. And we roll through Halloween month. Is that what it's called? Do you have like some sort of tagline on it? What is spooky season?
Scare-tober.
Scare-tober.
What?
Whoa.
Wait, who came up with that?
I did on the
Andy,
fly.
don't hold
I
it
didn't
against
catch
him.
your name for the episode. And then
Don't hold it against him. He's trying. He's doing his best.
Got it.
Small town Mocktober.
As we Scare-athon.
Oh.
We're spooking it up. Okay, can we get into the topic of this week's episode, which is not witches. Which is
Lizard Man.
Lizard Man. Oh my.
Oh, I think I misread this. Wait, Lizard Man or Creature from the Black Lagoon?
Yeah,
Well,
all right.
yes,
So what we
both
should
and.
explain,
Okay,
though,
all right.
we should explain what our original concept was,
Yeah.
following themes.
I might be in serious trouble.
No. So prior to having to stay home because my children were sick and missing a few episodes, Mark and I thought it would be cool if we went through the Universal Monsters as
Okay.
inspiration for the whole month of October.
Okay.
Yes.
Of course, we missed a few weeks, so now we're just cutting it short. And this one is going to be inspired by the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yes.
So, hence. No, but Lizard Man fall into that.
Perfect. Okay.
What? Yeah.
We're good.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
I did a lot of research on this.
I can't
You just
wait.
legitimately have a panic moment.
I didn't. Well, I got to be honest. On the next episode, I've got literally nothing. But this one, I did some work.
That's good.
Yep. How do we talk about this?
Well, let's start with the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go.
The movie.
1954's, which I just looked up.
Yes.
Creature from the Black Lagoon, starring Harold Ramis.
Bill Murray's father,
Yeah.
Fred Murray.
Yeah.
No, the Creature from the Black Lagoon is, as Seth said, came out in 1954, same year as the original Godzilla, by the way, which is an interesting comparison of its own. But this was a movie directed by Jack Arnold, and the origins of it actually go all the way back to 1940 and Orson Welles, believe it or not.
Nice.
And evidently they were at this dinner party. Orson Welles was there. Orson's girlfriend at the time, Dolores Del Rio, who is an actress.
Great name.
Isn't that the 40s and 50s Hollywood? And there's a Mexican cinematographer by the name of Gabriel Figueroa and 24-year-old William Allen, who would go on to become the producer of Creature from the Black Lagoon. And what William Allen remembers is Figueroa telling a story, which he swore was true, of an Amazonian monster and a tribe in the Amazon River that every year would have to take a woman from the tribe and offer her to this Gillman type monster. And the monster would carry her off, and then the village would be spared for another year until they had to do this again. And Figueroa was so insistent that this was true that he said he could produce photographs if necessary, and just went on and on about how true it was. And the thing is that those photographs never materialized, but Alan took that story idea and started developing it, and it eventually became the movie that everyone knows today. But it went through many iterations that I could very geekily walk you through one by one. But there's a good book by Tom Weaver called The Creature Chronicles that does a much better job of that.
Did anyone look further into this tribe element, this tribal element?
Well,
tribal god?
I'm glad you asked.
Yes.
As it turns out, there is a ton of Amazonian story about both being abducted or purity mythology where you have women coming of age and then being tempted by these shape-shifting creatures that come out of the Amazon River. Sometimes it's a a dolphin that turns into a man. Sometimes it's just a lizard, which is sort of the crossover for our purposes today. And we can definitely go into those.
Did you say terrifying?
Yeah.
Dolphin man? It's a dolphin with a man's face. There's nothing more horrifying.
It's pretty
I think
disturbing.
Turned into a man, though, is.
No, but I'm saying, yeah, but ignore that. What if it were hypothetical?
Dolphin with legs.
I'm just tossing this out there. What if there was a dolphin that had a man's face?
That would be weird.
Yeah.
Terrifying, if you will.
Imagine seeing him like playing with a beach ball.
Or
Wait,
making
is
that
him
dolphin
or
sound.
seal? Is that a dolphin? Oh yeah, making that. Ugh. Scary.
Oh boy.
It is scary.
Welcome to the spooky spook season. Spook
Scare-athon.
season. Scare-athon.
Scaretober.
Spookathon, yeah.
Yeah.
Spookarathon.
So I do want to go back to those legends, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But the movie was, walk through all these production stops and starts. You had probably, in the end, 5 different people doing story treatments or adding details to the story itself. The creature was designed by Millicent Patrick, who's like a unsung heroine of old school Hollywood special effects. And there's a book called, what is it called? I forget. But Mallory O'Meara is the author, and she goes into great detail about Millicent Patrick's history and sort of her, none of the men working in the Universal system really liked the fact that she was getting the credit for this creature design, which is very iconic. And one of the cultural critics I was reading said that I see what you think about this, but the creature from the Black Lagoon is one of the monsters that you can put in front of just about anyone and they would be able to identify it whether or not they've seen the movie. Like up there with Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, creature from the Black Lagoon. Well, she came up with the design. There's lots of, like a paper trail of her artwork that she did this. But Bud Westmore, who was kind of the main guy in special effects and makeup at Universal, really didn't like the fact that she was getting all the shine for this. So he and his cronies kind of busted her out of the way. So I'm sad to hear that part of the story.
Yeah, that sucks.
Did they? I'd love to see the original artwork she did, though.
It's in the book.
Somewhere? Okay,
yeah,
cool.
It all exists.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to see some of the concept design because the final stage Gillman is not what you see in the early work. It's much more of like a very smooth tadpole-y looking creature, which is very bizarre and almost laughable. I mean, you would never laugh at the creature from the Black Lagoon suit now.
Yeah.
But in some of those early concept drawings, it's like this. It was something that one of the directors or the writers was kind of insistent on, that it has to look like half human, half fish or aquatic. And so it had really big eyes, like human looking eyes. Yeah. And that survived like halfway through the process. And then that started to phase out in a more scaly creature. The one that we know kind of emerges from there. Let's see, it stars, well, the creature, we could talk about the creature, was played by 2 men. Ben Chapman was in the suit for the on-land walking scenes. Rico Browning was in the suit for the swimming scenes. And he was very famous for being able to hold his breath for these ungodly amounts of time between takes. And when he would finally need air, somebody would come over to him with like an air hose, literally, and he'd get the air and then do like another 3 to 5 minute take with one breath and doing all of these like animalistic swimming motions. And that's one of the magic parts of that movie, I think, is when you see the creature underwater, it doesn't look that much like just a guy in a suit, like doing a frog stroke or the doggy paddle. I mean, the way he moves through the water is like, it's an animal. You'd just lose the sense that this is some guy with flippers on his feet swimming, but it is. And he gave the movement a lot of believability. It was originally filmed in 3D, which is awesome. And if you ever get the chance to see it in 3D format, You really have to, because all these scenes that we're used to and that I'm used to having seen it multiple times pop in a new way. And like a perfect example is at the beginning where they discover the fossilized hand in the wall. It like zooms into the hand and just like regular, you watch like, okay, there it is. Yeah. But in 3D, it's like popping right out of the screen.
That's cool.
Like the claws are coming at you and stuff. And that's something that Jack Arnold became known for as a director. He's seen now as sort of a 3D pioneer, and he would put a lot of work into making it part of the storytelling. So that's the movie. Then it stars, Jack Arnold, for example, other movies that he did. It Came from Outer Space and The Incredible Shrinking Man are some of his most well-known hits.
It Came from Outer Space is a good one. I own that on Blu-ray.
Yeah,
I was bringing just to you, Andy.
Yeah, and both of those star Richard Carlson. Julia Adams is the main female figure in Creature from the Black Lagoon, and just an iconic film. One that is interesting too. And this is a quote from a critic named Frank McConnell, and he wrote this, which I thought was neat. Unlike any other movie monster one can think of, the creature is the result of no cause, neither accident, devilish science, or supernatural. He simply is. Primal and eldest, the outrage he generates is the curse of those unlucky enough to discover its existence. So I thought that was an interesting take on it, that typically in the monster genre, something happened.
Right.
And in his case, he just was existing and like happily doing what he does in the Amazon until human beings came along. And then...
So I didn't mean to... I'm looking at my article. I have an article I want to read about something else. And then...
great.
Yeah. No, but hold on. Right below it, there's a headline that says, Circus comes out ahead in race to space. The circus has won the space race. This has nothing to do with the topic of this episode, but this is from 1956. The circus has won the space race. Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey shot a midget to the moon Friday night.
That's not true. That's a lie. That's a lie.
All right, sorry. I wanted to inform everyone why I was laughing.
They dressed him up as a chimp.
Oh, no. No. Hey, I read it. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. I didn't do anything. Mark, the influence on the crypto, just keeping it within the realm of the paranormal, but the influence of this movie on cryptozoology and the reporting on them is seen everywhere from the 50s all the way through, well, probably present day, but like Lizard Man reports out of Bishopville, South Carolina would reference the Creature from the Black Lagoon. Really famously, there was an Ohio River monster, and this was like a one-off case where a lady reported a human-like webbed hand grabbing her foot.
Yep.
And then there's another one which I went and printed off the original reports.
Oh.
So I could read to you today.
Yeah.
All right. 1956, ladies and gentlemen, 2 years following the release of Creature from the Black Lagoon, a newspaper report out of Mansfield, I don't remember what the name of the Mansfield paper was, but the headline was "Boys Report Seeing Green-Eyed Monster." Charles Mill Lake may have a counterpart.
Counterpart.
We're off to a great start.
Of Scotland's famed Loch Ness Monster. The story of an all-black monster, 6 to 7 feet tall with 2 green eyes and no arms, has been investigated by both Richland and Ashland County Sheriff's deputies after 3 Mansfield youths said they saw it Thursday night on a lane which leads out to a peninsula in the lake from Old State Route 30. I wish I had this article when I drove out there because that's pretty specific. I bet you could still find that spot. The boys, Michael Lane, 14, of 645 West Longview Avenue. Don't look him up. This was a long, long time ago. Wayne Armstrong, 16, 656 West Longview Avenue. And Denny Patterson, 16, of Lonsdale Avenue, were driving around in the Armstrong youth's car Thursday night The heavy fog, which covered the area, gave them the idea of driving down to Charles Mill Lake to see how thick it was over the water, Lane said. They drove down a lane beside the boathouse and parked their car and were just sitting there watching the thick layers of mist rising from the lake when one of the boys pointed to what they thought was a log lying beside the water. Suddenly, the log was getting up from the ground. Our hair was standing on end, Lane said. The thing stood up and was about 7 feet tall, had no arms, and 2 green eyes. Then it started walking toward the car. We decided to get out of there fast. But we had trouble getting the car turned around. And when we finally did and looked back, it was only about 15 feet away. We hurried back to Mansfield and found a friend of ours, Dave Owens, and told him about it. But he didn't believe us, so he got into the car. We went back to the lake where we had seen it. This is really freaking boring. When we got there, it was gone. So we drove back to Mansfield and went to bed. Friday morning, we were telling Wayne's father, Harold Armstrong, about it, and he just laughed. This is real. Then he said that if we had really seen something, there should be some tracks to prove it. So he drove down there with us, and there were 2 big tracks just where we had seen it. Armstrong and the boys drove back to Mansfield and went to the sheriff's office. Deputy Thomas Moore accompanied the group back to the spot and inspected the footprints. Since the road is in Ashland County, Deputy Moore reported the incident to the sheriff's department there, and Deputy Charles Myers soon arrived on the scene. Deputy Myers reported he thought the prints resembled those made by the footgear worn by skin divers and labeled the whole thing a practical joke played on the boys. Wouldn't a skin diver be a nudist? Anyway, but the boys who saw the apparition aren't buying...
An armless nudist.
A harmless nudist.
No, armless.
Oh, armless,
you said it
armless nudist. Big green eyes. But the boys who saw the apparition aren't buying the theory. Michael Lane says he has heard reports that a big bear is roaming the area around the lake and thinks it could have been what they saw. There have been reports from the area of a bear being seen on several occasions. One report came from near Olivesburg, another from the Hanley Road area, and recently a group of bird watchers in the Charles Mill Lake area reported finding a sapling with its bark stripped as if clawed by a bear. Mm-hmm. That's the article, but coolest part of this, photo with the tracks, front page.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
And we'll include this on the video version. So if you're watching this on YouTube,
wow,
that actually has the tracks and stuff. And there is another version of this article that I've seen with the boys standing next to the tracks.
Really?
This does not have the boys standing there. So, but this is like, in terms of Ohio lore, this is the most famous Gillman type account that I'm aware of. And so as soon as I read Creature from the Black Lagoon, I thought I knew what we were doing. And
you were
obviously
right.
I don't.
No, that's it. That's
it
what we
is.
were thinking.
Okay.
It's the crossover and how one perception leads into another, perhaps.
Now, West Virginia also has a similar creature called Monangi, which we've talked about on the show a few times. I can't remember the exact description, but I did some cursory research for this episode. And I can talk about another one from 1909 in Lake George later.
Oh, yeah.
If we get time.
Do it.
Kind of cool.
Interesting.
Yeah. What do you got? You got notes. What do you want to...
Yeah, so these notes are for next episode.
right.
However, no, I was looking at different lizard-type creatures in lore and myth, and it was, of course, you got the Scape Ore monster down in South Carolina.
Escape Horror Swamp.
And
it's history.
Just no context. I'm just gonna say that and move on.
Yep.
No, but that's like one of the stories as to how that swamp got a name was Escaped Horror or something like that. I don't remember. It's true.
Really?
Yeah. Right.
I didn't know
Scape
that.
Ore, yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh, I thought you were just
I'm-
Seth and because that incident was in like 1988, I think.
Is it that late in the 80s? I was thinking
think
it was
it was
early
88.
80s.
Yeah, the whole Bishopville
And they still do
stuff.
Do they still do an event for?
Yeah, yes, they do. It's been like everything else shifted around and canceled and so forth. But yeah, Bishopville does continue to have a Lizard Man presence as far as shops and restaurants. The Sugar Museum continues to have part of it dedicated to whatever Lizard Man memorabilia there is still, and tracks and so forth. It's very cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's worth a stop.
Yeah, when I was that's like U.S. centered, but then when I was looking at expanding that out world. Okay, cool, great. All right, I'm out, guys. So that's it. That was it. My contribution.
You just got Millicent Patrick.
Yep. That's it. I was thinking about, or I read about.
Call back. I love that. I love it, Mark.
It's great. That's cool. I'm out.
No, please.
No, it's good.
Are you looking at your phone for more info on what you were about to talk?
No, screen's
Okay.
black.
Okay.
No, no, I was leaving, so I was just gonna take
don't
my
do that.
phone. No, like the Naga from Hinduism, they're more like serpent-like creatures, which I'm more familiar with them because of video games. But they're in mythology.
Secret Saturdays too. Did you ever watch that show?
No.
Oh, you have to watch Secret Saturdays. The Naga is like a major character in it.
Really?
Yeah.
What is the Naga?
It's a serpent like humanoid, but slithers around on a tail more than the two-legged.
That's as creepy as the Dolphin Man.
Somewhat like it.
Yeah.
Have the face
Except
of a man.
real.
Well. All right. So what is this? What? Give us some backstory on the Naga.
I don't know a ton about them.
Okay.
I just
You don't want to mess with the Naga.
Yeah, I mean,
That's the
literally,
thing.
what goes through my head anytime anybody brings
tempt
it
you.
up is World of Warcraft, because they were they were one of the monsters in that thing you fight.
Yep. Never played it. Played StarCraft. Too busy playing StarCraft for all those World of Warcraft. Those WoW nerds. Had too much going on in my life. Too many things. Too many big things going on with StarCraft. With me and my 6 friends that would play every Friday night until 4 a.m. Is that funny?
Yeah. Yeah, I was doing the same with Warcraft.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I was cooler, clearly.
Yeah. All right. That's it. That's what I got.
All right.
And then the what I may not pronounce it properly. The kappas.
Oh, kappas in Japanese
Yeah.
folklore, yeah.
Those have something to do with tooting or no.
What?
That's my input. That's my input. That's
Your
it.
input.
That's what I got for this
That's
week.
my input.
That's my input.
Oh, I haven't had enough sleep this
Yeah.
week for this.
I'm sweating.
Me too.
It's too hot in this room. No, but there's
Parents
some
say-
like weird.
Yeah, parents say, don't strain or you'll turn into a kappa.
Wait, no, for real. Isn't there like a flatulence? Hold on. Wait. Isn't there like a flatulence element to this story, to the kappas? Or something about your butt? There's some... Look, I'm Googling this right now.
Yeah.
I don't care. Go ahead, Mark. Talk about it some more.
Talk about some.
The kappas
geez.
or just in general?
First article that comes up: Gizmodo. Everything you need to know about butts, farts, and Japanese water imps.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's
Say no more. Don't even read any further because it might contradict me.
Let's please explore that.
Dude, what do you know about the kappas?
Yeah.
Well, here, let's start here. I have a painting of a kappa in my bathroom.
What? You guys are laughing at me.
And it was painted by Jenny Coleman, Lauren's wife.
Lauren's wife.
Nice.
Which, I got that at the first convention we went to up there in Portland. The kappa is associated with water all the time. They're sort of they have sort of a almost like a walking turtle type shape to them. Yeah. So they're the origin of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
The teenager turtles.
Which explains the sewer connection. Thank you. All right.
Boom.
Full circle.
Yeah.
Mic drop. Oh boy.
Gonna have to play this
Yeah.
episode for Tommy.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah.
Does it
He'll like
serve
it.
it as a warning?
Yeah.
Unless you want to be a teenager turtle.
Don't strain.
You don't strain. Relax.
Oh man.
Okay. We just lost everyone.
Yeah.
They're all gone. Welcome to another Spooktober.
And then also for other like reptilian type creatures, you have the Loveland Frogman.
True. This is true.
Is there a
That little-
campus connection with the Loveland Frogman?
There could be. Although the kappas seem to have that sort of trickstery element to their personality.
Did the Kappas have like a hollow head with water in it? Is that the, okay? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Okay. They're cool looking. I've always liked those guys.
They're
They're not named after Renaissance painters though. So how did they? I don't quite see the connection. Do they eat pizza?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Whatever you offer them.
Oh.
You better offer them something though.
Okay. Is that the? Never mind.
Oh no. Oh no.
Okay.
All right.
Do you want me to? Were you done with the Kappas, or do you want to
Yeah.
keep talking
Okay.
about?
Sure.
Now
we can
that
be
I
done with
completely
kappas.
destroyed that line of. It wasn't on purpose, guys. I'm sorry. I found an article that was kind of cool. Out of the reason it caught my attention was Lake George, but the headline was "The Ogre of Lake George: Monster reappears and creates commotion among summer visitors. Mrs. Bates falls from boat. Descriptions of the strange beast all agree on the main points, none of which are really echoed in this dumb article." So I'm going, for all I know, this could be like a champ type creature,
year
but
is
it's
this
called
again?
1909. But it says Ogre of Lake George, so I'm thinking something a little more human-like, which at that point in time is kind of odd. Like lake and aquatic monsters at this point are typically like that plesiosaur,
Or sea serpenty.
sea serpent, a lot of sea serpents. But this one, and this is a very long article, so I'm only going to read like the first part. But the mysterious marine monster which aroused such consternation along the shores of Lake George last season made its reappearance off Hague on Saturday afternoon with most spectacular and sensational results. Not only the natives, but the entire Army and Navy colony, which makes its headquarters at that little watering place, were thrown into a ferment of excitement. First by the appearance of the monster itself, and immediately after by the sensational results of the monster's sudden appearance, the heroic rescue of Paymaster H.E. Jewett of the Kentucky, of Mrs. Frank M. Bates, the dowager actress who in her younger days was known as the most famous Juliet of the Pacific Slope, but to latter-day audiences is better known as the mother of that brilliant young star. Good grief. Okay, so it goes on talking.
Turned into a society column
did,
all of a
really.
No
sudden.
idea what's happening. So at some point, it does like mention what it looked like, but it doesn't go into any detail at all.
The Carnegies are coming down this weekend. Coming next to the
Wait.
donate another library.
Creature had a nose, so that's something. I was the first one to cite the monster in our launch. I couldn't believe my eyes at first, and when I spoke to Mr. Jewett and Mr. Watrous about it, they both said, "Nonsense! That lemonade must have gone to your head!"
There we go.
But I do better. It wasn't like any fish that I had ever seen in my life. And then I turned to Eddie Flammer, and he too said he hadn't seen anything.
Oh man.
By that time, I was standing up in the launch, and I put on my spectacles. Oh,
Wait, what?
I don't know. I read the word underneath, but then it sounded like I was going to say put on his underwear. All the other ladies
By
were...
Jove. There he is.
I must get clothed once again. It's the ogre. You nefarious being.
See, so it really doesn't matter if we're themed or not, guys.
We tried.
We tried.
All the other ladies were just as scared as I was. just then, the monster came again. By this time, I was so excited that I was standing on the seat. Why, even the dogs on shore had seen the nasty thing, and a great big St. Bernard and a little Blenheim and a Cuban terrier came swimming out from Mrs. Vin's island to attack him.
Whoa.
The third time he came up, he was quite near the dogs, and they turned and swam for the shore just as scared as we humans were. That was the time I fell over. Once I struck the water, I wasn't really scared because I can swim pretty well. And anyway, as I came up, I saw that handsome Mr. Jewett getting ready to rescue me. This is insanity.
The fact that he had to talk about how well he could swim just reminds me of this TikTok thing where wives will sit down and they'll just look at their husbands randomly. They're like, you look like you can't swim.
Oh.
And then the husbands are like, what? And they get all upset about it. So just for reference, I can swim really well. That's not why I was afraid.
I'm stuck on the dog brigade swimming out to help.
None of these dogs.
And then
it's
they
like
turn
a
around.
trio of bizarre. I think the monster is a natural coward. The moment Mrs. Bates struck the water, I saw him recoil, and when he next came up, he was at least 80 yards further south. Oh yes, it was very brave of Mr. Jewett to jump overboard. Most of this is about this man rescuing this woman who's an actress and is famed for being the mother of someone. Paymaster Jewett last distinguished himself in China. What? Where in command of a company of Marines, he served under Rear Admiral McCullough and Admiral Seymour in their famous march to the relief of the legations in Peking. And the article just ends there. That's the
end.
So the Ogre of Lake George. Great story. We'll do a follow-up on this.
Wow. Yeah, it demands a follow-up.
It does.
I mean, it names names. You would presumably can trace the family tree of
That's true.
these folk.
We can find them. We will find them.
I will.
Finally,
Small Town
the
Monsters
ogre.
presents the Ogre of Lake George.
Is that our next feature film?
That's it. You nailed it.
Sweet.
Just wait.
Dog.
I'm sorry. I feel like I've derailed us talking about Charles Miller.
Oh, not at all.
Monsters and the Ogre of Lake George.
It's great.
Do you want to hear some Amazonian legends?
Yeah,
I
please.
do.
Yes.
Okay. So, the obvious question, which you posed quite early on, astutely, was
Flatulence thing?
the flatulence thing. Yes. There's a sweeping subgenre of flatulence stories in Amazon. Now, it was, was there anything to the Amazon story? And there is an author by the name of Juan Carlos Galeano writing for Florida State University who has a book called Folk Tales of the Amazon, in which there are huge sections devoted to the grouping is named Aquatic Seducers, which is
My next book.
your next book. Now we know the origin story.
Yeah.
But it is, there is an element of that in the film. And the most famous scene from from the Black Lagoon is the swimming scene.
Yeah.
And people, attribute different levels of subtext to that. But there is this aquatic seducer genre in Amazonian folktales. And you have the Yara, which is a beautiful green-eyed girl with white skin who can transform into a fish and back again with the purpose of seducing a young man to come join her under the waves or under the water of the Amazon.
Which reminds me of Sirens, too.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like at night, this was typical of the genre. There's a young man who is fishing, spent the night near the water. He's in his tent. He hears something splashing around in the water, and then all of a sudden he hears a sound like bipedal footsteps approaching the tent that leave a gift near it. And he comes out the next morning and sees a fish flapping around like on the shore, which he takes, puts in the water, and it turns into a beautiful woman, which he then follows down into a city underneath the water where there's like a whole group of people who can also transform into fish.
I was hoping that was going to be a Santa Claus story, but that's cool.
Now there's a variant which is a little bit spookier, I suppose. The Yara replaces a man's wife, which he discovers by her personality change. Like all of a sudden, it's his it looks like his normal wife, but she acts a lot different. And so he follows her around to the point where he sees her, rather than having some, like an affair or another lover, he watches her like walk down to the riverside, and then he blinks once and he sees a fish's tail like disappearing underneath the water. So it's actually, his wife has been replaced by the Yara, and she's trying to get him to join her.
Why did you seem so distraught over this?
So the first thing that came to my mind was if there was an age on it, as far as like, if there was an age on when that shift had occurred, because I thought if it was something like menopause or whatever, when hormones are shifting, if that would be some kind of story. And then whenever you were talking about she goes to the river and then the fish goes in, all I'm thinking, this is going to scare Tober or SCARE-athon or whatever. I'm thinking, well, that's like, what a great excuse if you kill your wife to be like, oh
She's
no,
a fish woman.
Yeah, she turned into whatever. There was nothing I could do. You knew she was acting weird. Like, I don't know. That's just where my mind went on that one.
It's kind of like witches or they're actually are lizard men or reptilian stories like this too. In the modern era, I've heard a story about a man who thought his wife was replaced by a reptilian. That's all I got.
Yeah.
It reminded me of like the idea of changelings and babies.
Oh yeah, that's creepy.
Yeah.
Okay, so have you heard of the Buffalo, Colorado?
Buffet, Colorado. Man, I kept trying to find a buffet in Colorado because
They had endless mozzarella
looking
sticks.
for endless mozzarella sticks.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, message us if you know a place that has.
If you do, please, and if it's in Las Vegas, bonus points because I gotta go there very soon. So if you got a Vegas buffet that has endless mozzarella sticks, that's what I'm looking for.
Well, in this case, the Buffalo,
this is
Colorado
okay.
is a pink dolphin.
Oh, it's very different. With a man's face, though?
No, but he shapeshifts into an attractive fisherman.
All right.
He uses his charms to lure girls away and convince them to join him in activities.
All right.
And if the girl becomes pregnant, she births a pink dolphin. He's relentless in his pursuit of the young women, showing up night after night. And the only way to break his power is to fool him into running out of the doorway of a high stilted house, which makes him fall to the ground, and he transforms back into the pink dolphin.
I was hoping she was gonna birth a huge mozzarella stick.
Wow.
I didn't know where this was gonna go. I thought I got excited for a second.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't
The
strain.
logistics.
Don't strain.
Yeah. No. Okay. All right. No, I've never heard that one. I don't like
either.
it.
It
Where's
reminds me of Zeus, though. He was very relentless in his pursuit of any female that he saw, and would shapeshift as well.
Where's a guy?
Yeah, and there's that cautionary element, I think, to these stories of, where did this child come from? Well, I got seduced by the pink dolphin man.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay.
Is this just like just like a book of alibis? Is that where this is coming from? It's like, I'm not having an affair. My wife is a fish-tailed woman.
Oh boy.
Buffalo. You.
Classic Buffalo.
So then there's this other group of stories around the Pirarucu, which is an enormous freshwater fish, 10 feet long, 485 pounds. This is real. This part is real.
Oh, wow.
These fish actually exist in the Amazon. They have armor-like scales, but the folklore element is that the Pirarucu was once a human warrior from a tribe in the southwest Amazon who was both brave and powerful, but also heartless and vain. He was the chief's son. He was very proud of his status and sort of, well, he leveraged that to do whatever he wanted to do. He criticized the tribal gods. He executed villagers for no reason when dad was away because he could. You know, he's the chief's son.
Right.
But the god of gods got fed up, Tupa, who unleashed a furious rainstorm. Pirarucu saw the storm coming while fishing and laughed it off in a moment of hubris. But then Tupa sent a bolt of lightning, which struck Piraruku, threw him into the river. He transformed into this great fish, which he has been ever since. And all of his descendants are these gigantic fish that you find in the Amazon. And there's manatees in the Amazon River.
Those are mermaids.
Mm-hmm.
What? Why? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the idea behind mermaids, from what I understand, is people seeing manatees and then attributing the
sailors
back
who
end.
have been on the boat for way too long.
All right.
And maybe had some rum.
That's
Yeah,
a thing.
maybe.
That's a thing at the ocean.
They saw the
Just at the ocean.
super thick manatee women.
Yep.
All right, so that wraps up our creature from the Black Lagoon discussion. SCARE-athon continues with Frankenstein. Coming next week, we're going to talk about reanimated corpses, and I'm not, because I have done no research, so I'll probably just interject
You'll have research between now and next week, though,
flatulence
right?
questions. We're about to record that episode, so no, this is it. This is all I got.
Oh.
If you want to watch the show, which is mostly us in a really cool setting, expertly edited and shot by our showrunner, Andy Matsky, please watch on YouTube. Posts every Tuesday. We post on Tuesdays. If you're a squad member, channel member, you get to watch it without ads. And that posts on the same day usually. Oh, about there. Somewhere around Monday, Tuesday.
It'll get there eventually.
But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on with YouTube. So make sure to go over there and watch the new Beyond the Trail episodes and the final couple of hauntings. So I don't know. Do we want to address that yet? Maybe not. There's more hauntings starting up soon. So
The hauntings are starting.
the hauntings are starting. So beware. It's that season. SCARE-athon. All right. That's it for now.